let's understand this. Consistently, I've seen that the global InfoAnalytics has put Haruna Iddrisu as the forerunner. How are they arriving at this?
Well, so this is their tracking poll, and over 9,000 respondents were actually interviewed across all 16 regions. And this is the result that global InfoAnalytics is having. This will give us the chance to compare the results of the poll in July and then also in September and see who has lost and who has gained in terms of the momentum. So you see right here in terms of who to lead the NDC, clearly, just like you mentioned, Haruna Iddrisu is leading that race with about 30%. But one thing you see is that unlike the NPP race where the vote is actually skewed to the right, what you see in the NDC case is that you have a fair level of distribution where even Haruna Iddrisu, who is leading, is not able to get more than half of the respondents who were interviewed. But Esiedun Ketia will still fancy his chance. He's coming in with 24.1%, and other, aspirants are also there. Atoforsen, 18.4%. But let's look at the July poll and then September poll and see what we have so far in terms of what has changed. And if you look at Haruna Iddrisu's bracket, he's been able to add some 3 percentage points to his popularity, moving from 27% to 30%. Esiedun Ketia, on the other hand, has been able to, he dropped, unfortunately, from 26 to 24. Atoforsen,
between July and September.
Absolutely. Atoforsen in July, and when the economy was performing so well, the dollar, the cedi becoming the best performing currency in the world, was having 22% in terms of popularity. But as we get close to the third quarter and ending the third quarter, he has actually dropped in popularity from 22% to 18%. But there were some interesting pairings that were also done. And in terms of the blocks, if you look at the Akan block, like for instance, who would you vote for? Definitely you see Esiedun Ketia leading in the Akan block, and Atoforsen coming second with Haruna Iddrisu third, and Julius Debra for there. If you go to the northern block, there you see Haruna Iddrisu for the first time leading with a mammoth number 59, almost 60%, and Esiedun Ketia coming just with 17%, Atoforsen 9%. Julius Debra, unfortunately, and then Akudjeto Ablakwa, all not able to poll 5% of the people who were interviewed. If you go to the OT region, definitely Akudjeto Ablakwa is leading there. And if you do the swing regions, you see Haruna Iddrisu reflecting that 29% also there. Let's do some matchups that were done in terms of the head-to-head, and you see an interesting pairing that we are getting. And the question was, in an election, if you have Esiedun Ketia and then Bawumia, who would you vote for? And this was the outcome: 50% for Esiedun Ketia, 45% for Bawumia.
That's very close, though.
Very, very close. If you have Esiedun Ketia and Kennedy Japan, Esiedun Ketia was still leading. But if you have, Bawumia and Julius Debra, who would you vote for? This was the outcome. But one thing we have observed in terms of the polling numbers is that Global InfoAnalytics interviewed more NDC voters than MPP voters, with floating voters just being a small component of that sample size. And so we may say...
For this particular block.
Yes, exactly. We are saying that this could have influenced the results here, because once you interview more NDC members than MPP members and you ask them to choose between MPP candidates and NDC candidates, you definitely will have an inflated, outcome for the NDC. So this is what we are getting. And the last one that I'll put out there is Kennedy Japan versus Julius Debra, with Kennedy Japan coming on top there. So you say that they interviewed which group of persons more? In fact, they interviewed more NDC than MPP. If I can get that data, that will put this in proper context. If you look at the sample size.
But even so, for a particular match, you definitely will see that even though they interviewed more NDC, still Bawumia seemed to have some numbers ahead of
exactly what we are trying to put across. And if you look at the party affiliation, which is here, you can see NDC in terms of the numbers very, very high compared to MPP. Floating voters just around 15 and 17%.
This group of people, the way they are so dangerous.
They're undisclosed, and then floating voters. So this is what we are tracking. That's when
can you see if you can share with me that particular slide that tells if you match Bawumia and Julius Deborah.
Let's try and see Bawumia and other candidates and see.
Okay, that's even a better way.
Okay, this is it. So you have Bawumia versus Haruna Iddrisu. Who would you vote for? This is swing regions. Definitely going for Haruna Iddrisu. 63%, Bawumia 35%. Bawumia and Atuforsen in the swing regions, you have Atuforsen leading. If you have Esiedun Ketia versus Bawumia in the swing region, definitely Esiedun Ketia is leading. And even Julius Deborah in the swing regions is beating Bawumia, and we are saying that possibly the sample size and the party affiliation of the people that Global InfoAnalytics spoke to possibly could have influenced this outcome.
I think this brings clarity to the methodology that they use. Thank you so much. You can as well visit my Joy online and take a read, especially for that research.